One of the big stories of last offseason was the fact that Ohio State was able to retain a ton of talent over the summer and brought back multiple key contributors that helped them on their national championship run. The entire defensive line was absolutely remarkable, and one of the guys that they were able to retain was edge rusher JT Tuimoloau. JT has been a prospect I've had my eyes on since 2022 and an incredibly intriguing edge rusher in a loaded group. Where does Tuimoloau rank in this class, and how high will he ultimately hear his name called in the 2025 NFL Draft? That is what we will be going over in today's video. But hey guys, if you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon page, where for $5 a month, you guys will get exclusive access to my in-depth draft guide and big board, with over 500 scouting reports and evals for tons of prospects in this draft class. It is one of the best resources you guys will find on the market, where you will find all sorts of combine numbers, stats, and advanced data that will help you be successful this draft cycle. Leave a comment on this video and let me know which players you guys would like to see me talk about in a future video. And without further ado, let's take a closer look at JT Tuimoloau. Tuimoloau has been on scouts' radars for the past few seasons, but consistency has been a major concern for him over the past few years. In 2023, Tuimoloau finished the year with 37 pressures, 4 sacks, and 20 run stops on the year. There were a lot of question marks around him, but many thought he would have been a second-round pick had he declared for last year's draft. But he decided to go back to Ohio State for another year, where he put up career numbers for the Buckeyes. He finished the season with 51 total pressures, 15 sacks, and 39 run stops on the season for Ohio State. It was a big part of a defensive line that won a national championship, but scouts don't really seem to be talking about him in the same way that they were last year. The first thing that really pops off on tape when you're watching Tuimoloau is his size. He is an absolute unit along the defensive line. He is listed at 6'4", 270 pounds, and he has some great length for the edge rusher position as well. I think he's a pretty versatile player. He will probably be viewed as a 4-3 edge rusher, and that's probably where he will be best suited at the NFL level, but I think he gives you flexibility to kick inside and play 3-4 defensive end. He's got phenomenal traits in terms of size and length that I think NFL teams are absolutely going to fall in love with. Tuimoloau profiles best as a power rusher at the NFL level. He plays with a low center of gravity, and he knows how to generate power from his lower body. He's got remarkable upper body strength, and he knows how to utilize his length in order to connect with offensive linemen early to win the leverage battles. He has absolutely violent hands as well, and he showcases a really strong bull rush to absolutely bully offensive linemen. I think if you're looking for a player with primarily a power profile off the edge, Tuimoloau could be a player that you like, because time and time again, he's shown the ability to win with power. The area where I felt he improved the most in 2024 was as a run defender. The past couple of seasons, you didn't really see him making a lot of splash plays in the run game, but this past year, there were a ton of really high upside moments as a run defender. He triggered downhill well, he did a great job of clogging run lanes, and just setting the edge consistently in the run game. It was unbelievable how much he improved as a run defender, and I do think where he struggles as a pass rusher at times, he makes up for with a really high floor in run defense, which I love to see from him. There are, however, still going to be some glaring issues for me when we talk about Tuimoloau's game. I really worry about his athleticism. He's not very quick off the line of scrimmage, he doesn't have really any bend in his game, and he's struggled to remain consistently upright and on his feet. Balance was a big concern for me that just showed up time and time again on tape for Tuimoloau. Athletically, he just doesn't have the upside that you would like to see, and I really worry about that. In prior seasons, you saw more of a quick burst off the line of scrimmage, and he was able to convert speed to power. This past season, it just felt like he was pure power. The speed was pretty lacking in his game, and I think he's got a pretty low ceiling just because he doesn't have a ton of athletic traits. I also feel like he has a lack of pass rush moves. Yes, he showcased a spin every now and then, but other than that, it felt like he had a very large arsenal of moves that he could break out, and he just didn't use it. A simple swim move or the ability to get skinny would go a long way for him. This has been an issue with him throughout his entire collegiate career, but he just doesn't have counter moves, and he doesn't know how to win consistently. He had a 12.1% pass rush win rate in 2024, which is about average for the position. I think he's an average pass rusher at best, which I know sounds harsh, but I just don't think he brings a lot of upside in terms of being a dynamic pass rusher. He needs to improve with his hands, and he needs to develop more counter moves. I really have tried to get on the JT Tuimoloau train for the past 3 seasons, and while he cleaned up some of the consistency issues in 2024 for the Buckeyes, I just feel underwhelmed by his lack of traits. He doesn't move super well, he doesn't have great hip flexibility or bend, he doesn't have a lot of pass rush moves, and I just think he's got a lower ceiling than some of these other edge rushers. He's my number 17 edge rusher in the class and my number 100 overall prospect. I know that's going to sound like a hot take. I'm just a lot lower on Tuimoloau than the consensus. He gives you a high floor as a run defender, he gives you some great power at times, but I just don't see much else in his game that really excites me. In terms of a scheme fit, we touched on it earlier in the video. I think he can play all over the defensive line. A majority of his snaps will be played from the 4-3 edge position over the tackle, and I think that's where he plays the best. I think he could slide inside and play a 3-4 defensive end if a team asked him to, but he is best suited as a 4-3 edge rusher where he'll get one-on-one matchups with the tackle, and if he's able to get a nice release off the line of scrimmage, could win with his power and be a great crash downhill run defender. My player comparison for Tuimoloau is Philadelphia Eagles edge rusher Brandon Graham. Both of them have great size that fits the 4-3 defense, but neither of them are considered elite athletes. They both have pretty stiff hips and have had some struggles at consistently winning as a rusher. However, they're both fantastic run defenders, and while I don't think Tuimoloau will ever be as good as Brandon Graham was at his peak, I think he's got a very similar play style and has some of the traits that Graham showcased for Philly throughout his career. JT Tuimoloau is a wrecking ball. He has some of the most jaw-dropping plays you'll see simply because he shows such great power, but he's struggled because he doesn't have many counters and he's not an amazing athlete. I'll be very interested to see how high he gets taken and how teams decide to use him early in his career. But ultimately, I believe that JT Tuimoloau will be a 3rd round pick in the 2025 NFL Draft.